Hello, my loves. Welcome back to another episode on the Royal Remembrance podcast. I'm so glad to be back. I'm so glad you're back. So, on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the top 3 ways to really tap back into feminine communication and sensuality as a high achieving woman. Now, I've already made an episode talking about ways to tap into your sensuality, but I really want to take this a step further, take it a little bit deeper. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, definitely check that episode out. It's episode number 9, and I talk about like some really quick key ways to start accessing and tapping into your sensuality today. Okay, so in this episode, I'm gonna be taking things a little bit further and a little bit deeper. And the reason why is because when it comes to stepping into feminine communication and sensuality, particularly, especially for high achieving women. This is the demographic of women that I've worked with over the years. And I found that when it comes to approaching things like feminine communication, being able to communicate softly, more femininely. When it comes to things like sensuality, being more sensual, being more feminine, you have to take a little bit more of a different approach when you are a high achieving woman, when you are a, motivated, driven, successful woman. You tend to have to take a little bit of a different approach. And so I'm going to be diving into like the top 3 secrets that I dive into with all of my clients that you guys really, really need to master today. Okay. So let's just go ahead and dive straight in. The first thing is, I want you ladies to go ahead and start getting more comfortable with being witnessed and being experienced by other people, and especially also being witnessed by men. And I'll get into this and I'll tell you why. Okay. So here's the thing when it comes to communication. Your words, the words that you speak, only makes up about 7% of communication, right? The majority of our communication as human beings comes from our body language. So oftentimes what I find is that when it comes to things like, how to change up your communication style, how to tap into your feminine energy, your feminine essence, your sensuality. When women who are more self-aware, when they start approaching these things, it tends to be from a more logical perspective, right? They're reading books, they're absorbing the information, and it's almost coming from a space of just spitting it back out. They're not really truly understanding it because their body doesn't really understand it. Okay. So the reason why I want you ladies to start being witnessed by men in particular is because this is going to give you access into what your body language is communicating. Okay. So the first place to begin, before we even get into being witnessed by men, is I want you ladies to take advantage of getting into some sort of dance class, some type of movement expression class where you are moving your body. Okay. You ladies know that I talk a lot about, pole dancing. I used to be a pole dancing instructor, particularly floor work. And the reason why I encourage you ladies to do something like this is because I want you to start untangling your sensuality out of your sexuality. Here's the reason. Most women only experience their sensuality and actually being in their bodies and being connected to their feelings and their senses when they're in bed. Come on now. I know I'm talking to someone. Okay. Outside of that, most women aren't really comfortable with being in their bodies, dancing. A lot of women are actually very detached away from their bodies. And they say things like, oh, I can't dance, or it's just like a very stiff energy, right? Where the energy, a lot of it is upper. It's a lot of head, crown, chakra energy, a lot of solar plexus and upward energy where we need to be starting to tap into those lower regions. This is why doing things specifically like floor work, I highly, highly, highly encourage you ladies to start taking advantage of classes like these. Book yourself a class specifically when it comes to floor work. I wouldn't say it needs to be pole dancing because pole dancing tends to require a little bit more technicality, where I want you ladies to be actually stepping a little bit away from things that require so much technical aspects, right? Because I want you to be able to drop in and drop down. And when you're doing things like floor work, sensual floor work, you're literally on the ground, you're grounding yourself, you're tapping back into those lower regions, you're tapping back into, your root chakra, you're tapping back into your sacral chakra, really starting to get involved in those hips, right? All of that is super, super, super important in getting back in touch with your own body, getting back in touch with what do I feel like, what do these senses feel like, allowing your body to feel the music. All of these things are super, super important, okay? From there, I highly recommend that you enroll yourself in some type of like partner dancing. And here is the reason why. So you guys know I've been talking a lot how I've been taking salsa dancing classes. And it was such a huge realization for me how freaking key this is and this could be in a lot of women's feminine energy journey and in a lot of our a lot of women's sensuality journey in particular. The reason why is because being in a space where you're doing partner dancing, right? Salsa dancing is traditionally a little bit more sensual. You are allowing yourself to be experienced by other men and you're allowing yourself to receive feedback. They will literally reflect back to you what your body language is communicating. For example, y'all, this is so key. This is so, so key. For example, when it comes to salsa, the ladies are traditionally the follows. The men are traditionally the leads, which means that the men are leading the dance. The men are leading you. And what often ends up happening for a lot of people starting off in salsa, especially, a lot of us, high achieving women who are used to being leaders, women who are used to, calling the shots, is that when you are learning the steps, it's very heady. You're very heady. You want to get all the steps. You want to do it correctly. And when you start doing that partner dance, you don't even notice how you will almost rush and you start taking over the dance and you start anticipating where he is going to take you and you end up leading him there, right? For example, let's say he wants to turn you and you're kind of like sensing he wants to turn you, and so you put up your arm and lead the turn instead of him guiding you to that turn. Y'all, this is such key information and key feedback into what your body language is saying. And this is information that you won't get otherwise outside of being in relation, right? Allowing yourself to be experienced, particularly by men, because they are tuned in, especially in a dance class, right? They are tuned in to, I am leading this dance. I am leading her. And they are so kind about it, especially the class that I was taking. They are so kind about, hey, just a quick little, feedback, a quick little thing, like, let me lead you. You don't have to lead me. Such key feedback, y'all, that you don't even notice, again, that you're doing these things. And it's such a beautiful, like, litmus test almost to what others are experiencing from you, what others are getting from your energy. And so, ladies, if you are serious about seriously tapping into your sensuality and what your body is communicating, what you are communicating, I highly encourage you to go ahead and take a partner dance class, okay? If you are partnered already, if you are, you're married already, ask your husband, ask your partner, hey, do you want to do this together? Such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful way to receive feedback of what's actually happening. The second thing when it comes to being able to access that feminine communication and that sensuality, primarily as a high achieving woman, is I want you to remember this. Be like water. Be like water. Now we're gonna go there for a second. I want you to imagine that feeling, that sensation after you have just had an orgasm, right? And you know that feeling that you feel after that orgasm, like that calm, that just like, we're just going with the waves. We're just on like cloud nine. Woo! All is well. I want you ladies to start bringing more of that energy into your everyday life. When you walk into the gym, be like water. Be like water. When you're going anywhere, running that through your body, be like water. Notice how that energy feels so just like open. It feels so just like, woman, right? Be like water. That is something that you can take away from this video right now, today, and start implementing and accessing right now. Be like water. Moving through your days as such. Remember, as a high achieving woman, your default is logical. Your default is your mind, head, logical. What do I need to do? Be like water. That is your practice today. The third thing that we need to talk about, and this is what I really, really need all of you to tune into right now, okay? Womb healing, ladies. Womb healing, womb healing, womb healing. This is probably the most important part of what it is that I'm talking about today. In order to really access feminine communication and sensuality, without me giving you, if someone says this, say this, do this. That is very mechanical. We each have our own template, our own feminine template, our own sensual template, our own feminine communication way of doing it. And oftentimes, when you are just given things to say, oh, heighten your voice, speak more softly, that's not really coming from you. It's a performance. The reason why womb healing is so important is because you need to be able to access your body again, your womb space and your heart again. So many women are so detached away from those regions of their bodies because of trauma or whatever else might have happened. And so you get so used to being up in the head, up in the mind, what makes sense, logical. You have so many different responsibilities. You got to do what makes sense. And so you have almost trained yourself out of accessing your body because you don't need it. That's not what has made you successful. Like, why do we need to go there, right? We're only going to go there when it's sexy time, right? Being on the receiving end of your energy. Remember, communication is only 7% of your words. And so men, women, everyone can pick up on what it is that you are communicating without you even saying a word, because your body is saying it. Your body is saying it. And so many women are feeling stuck or stagnant when it comes to, feminine communication, their feminine energy journey, because it doesn't feel quite like them yet. And it's because they haven't allowed themselves to access these spaces of themselves yet and allowed themselves to be witnessed in this. Womb healing is such an incredibly powerful practice, y'all. And it has helped so many of my clients to just completely unleash their true heart's desires, be able to communicate effectively in their relationships again, repair their relationships again. I mean, it has just done wonders, because you're speaking from your true, authentic template, your true self, your true heart, not the manufactured version of you. So I highly encourage you, ladies, if you're truly wanting to find your specific feminine communication style and really master that, really master sensually communicating, you definitely want to take advantage of a womb healing session. And the reason why you want to be witnessed and seen in this, right? Because there's a lot of meditations online that you can do. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can just listen to and meditate to. But the witnessing part is so important. The reason you want to do this with a practitioner, a specialist, or someone who can guide you through this is because I can literally see when you are at an edge. I can see when you are at an edge and you need to be pushed through so you can really access what that thing is, what the root thing is that needs to be acknowledged and cleared out from the root. I often pair my womb healing sessions with anger release practices, with NLP techniques, being able to be with a skilled practitioner who can notice what it is that you need and take you there exactly when you need it. Okay, we need to go in a different direction. Okay, we need to go a little bit deeper there. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay, let's back off. That is key. And as a high achieving woman, as a high performing woman, a lot of times you are not comfortable with being witnessed. You want to mentally get yourself out, right? So what I will often experience is a lot of times people will notice ugly things coming up, ugly thoughts. And I'm saying these in quotation marks, ugly thoughts coming up. Why am I thinking this? Why am I feeling this towards this person? And they're so used to self-correcting themselves. They're so used to self-coaching themselves and self-diagnosing and trying to flip the whole thing around. When you are in that space, especially with me, because you are in such a safe space, there is no need to correct. There is no need to redirect or, oh, I know they were doing the best that they could. We need to go in there. We need to feel what it is that you're actually feeling. Let's go there. Let's go. Let's go there. Because that's the only way you are going to truly access your real sensuality. Because otherwise, your true emotions, your true self, your true feelings is actually just lying dormant. And so the more that you take on, the more that you listen to people and to things of what you should say and what you should do, you're always just going to come from a space of performance instead of being yourself. And so if you really want to access and get to the root of, you know what, I still got some things. I still got some things lingering within me that I know I need to just release and let go of it. And I'm telling you, being witnessed in that is one of the most powerful things that you can do for yourself. I remember the first time that I was held through womb healing. It was one of the most transformative experiences of my life because I was able to admit so many things that would be deemed ugly, or why am I thinking these things, or shame on me for saying those things or feeling these things, and being able to actually access that anger, being able to actually access that sadness, being able to actually access that grief and be witnessed and be held in all of it and just be able to release it. It changed my life. It changed my relationship with my feminine energy because I met all of me. I met all the parts of me, all the ugly, all the dark. I met all of that. I had a mentor, his name is Preston Smiles, and he would always say that you are only as sick as your deepest secrets. You are only as sick as your deepest secrets. And so many times people think that they can, just put on the outer layer and say all the beautiful things and say all the beautiful words and put on the outfits and put on the garb, right? But deep down, what's happening under there? What needs to be released under there? And I'm so grateful for those spaces that were able to hold all of me. Because that's usually a common thought for a lot of high achieving women is, who can hold all of me? Who can hold all of me? A lot of times you are often the most smartest, one of the most smartest self-aware people in the rooms and spaces that you occupy. Am I right or am I right? You go to therapy, you're talking to the therapist and self-coaching yourself in the damn therapist seat. You're like, yeah, I acknowledge that, and this makes sense, and you just talk yourself out of these things instead of actually being able to experience what it is that you are actually feeling, what it is that you are actually pissed off about, and being able to put a finger on it, feel it, sense it, bring it up, and release it and let it go. That is how you truly access your femininity. That is how you truly access your feminine energy. That is how you truly access your sensuality, your feminine communication. This is it right here. This is it right here. And so, ladies, if you're craving a space to actually be witnessed and to be held and to be guided in an effective way, so that you can emerge feeling a sense of lightness, feeling a sense of acceptance. And if you guys are really serious about tapping into that and exploring that, I would highly, highly encourage you to book in a womb healing session with me. And the link for that will be down in the show notes or the description box. All right. The last thing that you get access to and step into when it comes to feminine communication, when it comes to sensuality as a high achieving woman, is practice asking for help again. Practice asking for help again. I know this one is so simple and you probably already do, but what I have noticed is that high achieving women tend to only ask for help with small things. What I want you to do is get comfortable being witnessed in really heartfelt, vulnerable moments. So I remember I was talking to a client a few weeks ago, and we had uncovered something so big when it comes to her own relationship with other women. And, for a long time, she was like, I only want to coach men. I only want to coach men. I only want to coach men. And as we dug deeper behind the reason why, and I knew it was something because it was such a disdain for coaching women. It was I prefer men because I just don't relate to women, right? And so when we got to the root of why, we went way back. We went, generations back to figure out where the root of this thing was coming from. And so anyway, after the session, her whole energy shifted towards women and really being able to see herself as literally being this empress, this goddess, this queen, where other women are actually excited to be in her presence. And she was thinking otherwise. She was thinking that women didn't like her. She was thinking that women didn't accept her. And so anyway, a lot of things were coming up for her after the session. And, she was like, I have a lot of things that are coming up for me. I feel really emotional. And so I said, your homework, I want you to allow yourself to have this moment in front of your girlfriends. Allow your girlfriends to experience you and hold you in this moment. Because a lot of times, most high achieving women, we want to go in our quiet space. We want to go in our quiet space and process everything on our own. So we're never seen as weak. But that is one of the most powerful things that you can do. And a lot of times this won't come until you have met yourself there through like a womb healing session, until you have experienced your own darkness and felt and have been held in that. That's usually when you're more comfortable to start allowing the people in your life to start seeing these sides of you, to be able to start sharing your actual feelings with the people in your life. And so when I say allow yourself to practice asking for help, it's in these moments. Remember, I met up with a new friend a few weeks ago, and it was our first time meeting up, and the connection and communication was so vulnerable, so raw. We were able to express things that just such feelings of like little girl, like I was really scared about that, or I feel like I really messed up with this. And just being able to fully admit these things and feeling so held and so seen and so witnessed. Oh my gosh, it is one of the most beautiful things. But I will tell you, it took not a long time, but it took me going to those depths to be able to get here with others, to be able to feel so safe, to be able to express my truth with others. So ladies, feminine communication, being able to communicate femininely and sensually, is a practice. It is a skill. It is not a blueprint. It is not a blue book. And once you have mastered what it is that we just walked through today, then your natural feminine essence, your natural sensuality will start to come up. And it will start to be exuded through your voice. And you'll notice how your body just starts to communicate for itself. You'll notice how your sensuality has actually heightened. And so now you're actually speaking from a feeling space and not so much a thinking space, because that is the biggest thing for effective feminine communication as women, is being able to speak from your feelings. Help me to feel what your body, your senses is feeling. Again, you can say all the right words, all the smart things. You can say it in a really pretty way. But what people are gathering and sensing is the body. What is the body saying? And so we've got to be able to get to the root of what's happening in the body, clear things out from the body, from the root, and work your way back up. All right. So ladies, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, if you are interested in booking in a womb clearing session with me, I would absolutely love to have you. The links for that will be down in the description box. Other than that, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye.